to be seemed only a long experiment, to be seen only a long, but to become, that is what she has to be, to become. To be seen only a long experiment. The hazard of a seeking ignorant force that tries on truth's end, finding none supreme, moves on unsatisfied, unsure of its end. Yeah, keep on trying. You bring beings after being. You see, you have got Rakshasas, Pishachas, Daityas, Titans, giants, demons, all those things. Yeah, she has tried, she has experimented, she is moving on like that. You had dinosaurs, you had big whales, see, monstrous creatures like that in this creature. She has allowed all those things to happen. She has allowed all those things that she is exploring every possibility of expression, you see. And she allowed that thing to happen, you see. Why did she allow mastodon and sloth to come into, dinosaurs to come into existence here, giant creatures to exist on this earth? Because she wants to see how life force can really expand itself here. The Rakshasas, the Pishachas, the Asuras, she has allowed them to come here. There was a phase in the process of evolution when the life forces allowed all those things to happen. They had to express themselves fully. They cannot but do that kind of a thing. And then conquer them. You see. Moves on, unsatisfied, unsure of its end. I saw some inner mind. So it is the inner mind of life. Some inner mind, somebody who's in it. So life was saved. That is how. Some inner mind. It is that we saved all these things here. From thought to thought, she passed. From face to face, tortured by her own powers of proud and blessed. Yes, she has experienced happiness, she has experienced sorrow and suffering also. She has experienced life, she is experiencing death. She has experienced truth, she is experiencing falsehood. She has experienced beauty, she is experiencing ugliness, ungoodness. All these things she is trying. Now master of herself, now toy and slave. That is the nature of life. Because she does not calculate the consequences. She plunges and meets every eventuality and accepts them. Yes, if it is going to be for her to be a slave or a puppet in somebody's hand, she does not mind. But at the same time, she can be the master, the king, the ruler, the sovereign of all these activities also. A huge inconsequence was her actions and law. Yes, she had done all that thing, but ultimately what had she did? A huge inconsequence. Nothing worthwhile. They have come in. As if all possibility must be drained. All the giant creatures, they had to be in the manifestation. They had come, Rakshasas, Pishachas, Titans, giants, whatever called, demons, they had to be there. Asuras, they had to be there. Dinosaurs had to be there. Giants, animals have to be there. See. Now we have got small petty animals that way. Even the elephant, in that sense, compared with them, is a small little creature compared with that, you see. But then see the vivacity, see the multiplicity of life expression. You have got giraffes, you have got kangaroos, you have got whales. See what a variety of life, and the birds of every kind, cruel birds, happy birds, joyous birds, every kind of thing. That is the expression of life in its every form, you see. When that enters, a huge, but ultimately it's a huge, something is gained, but in the real sense, in terms of the possibility of expression of spirit, it is an inconsequence. A huge inconsequence was her actions law, as if all possibility must be drained. You see, because in expression of life, this can exist. Because this can exist, therefore they must exist and get removed so that they don't reappear unexpectedly tomorrow in other contexts. You have exhausted and eliminated that possibility which would come into manifestation. Drained out. Must be drained. There is a possibility of the dinosaurs to appear. Well, let them appear. Let them have their own play. Then it's out. They not out. Wipe it out, you see. Wipe it out, you see. That way, you see. So that is, otherwise that will come in the way. You see, had the dinosaurs not disappeared, man would not have come on the scene of evolution. He would have been simply swallowed by the huge creatures. He would not have been able to survive at all. So if a progress had been made from the vital being to a mental being, all those giant antagonistic vital beings had to disappear. They had to disappear. Before Rama came as an avatar, Parshurama was the avatar, you see, sixth avatar, Parshurama. He destroyed all these vital forces from the earth 21 times. All these great Asuric forces he destroyed 21 times. Nikshatriya, without valor, they had to be removed completely. Otherwise, all these great vital creatures, they would have come in the way of the mental being's appearance and progress. They had to disappear, you see. So the necessity of Parshurama was there. All these vital formations which were present there, they had to disappear if a higher being is to appear and progress upon the earth. See, in the same way, perhaps it will not happen, it need not happen, it will not happen, but in the same way, if man is not able to change himself, he will be no more needed. He will be removed from the scene and the Superman will come and occupy. So it is up to man to land himself in that direction. There is a possibility, there is an urge, there is something within him which is wishing that, aspiring for that, and it is that which keeps him alive. So that aspiration was not there in the earlier beings. The vital beings had never an aspiration, let me use my hugeness, my gigantism for a divine purpose. That aspiration was not there with them, and when it was not there, so they had to disappear. They had to go away from the scene, see, completely. See. A huge inconsequence, that was the inconsequence, was her actions law, as if all possibility must be drained. Yeah, that is required. See. If it can happen, it will happen. You take that into account and make your move like that. You see, in fact, that is what any scientist will do, any engineer will do. You are building up a spacecraft. Now, once it is in the sky, you can't do much about it. You can't do really anything about the sky. So, if you find that a certain part of it can fail, if you find that a certain part can fail, then you accept, you assume, you take that it will fail. That can, you will convert into it will fail and make corrective measures for that. Remove that thing and then send it into the satellite of the sky. Because later on you can't do anything at all. If it can fail, assume that it will fail and correct it. Assume that it will correct it, you see. So that can has to be converted. So that is what a good engineer will do. Maybe you will have to build up multiple alternate paths. Well, that is a part of the game. You have to do that thing. Because if it malfunctions, if it does not function at all properly, or if it fails, you have to find something alternative to that sort of a thing, you see. So that possibility of it can fail has to be drained out by correcting it or by devising some alternate paths. As if all possibility must be drained out. And anguish and bliss were pastimes of the heart. In a gallop of thunderhood, vicissitude, changes, constant changes, vicissitude, up and down, good and bad changes, constantly vicissitude, fortune and misfortune, sorrow and happiness. These are the vicissitudes of life. Good fate, bad fate, misery, joy. They are the vicissitudes of life. Thunderhood, in a gallop of thunderhood, vicissitude, all these things, you see, gallop. See, gallop of thunderhood, see, speed and force, gallop, force, strength with which it is running, thunder, speed, suddenness with which it is happening, you see. She swept through the race phase of circumstance. Yes, this is circumstance, this is an occasion. She is sweeping through that thing. So she has really become a mare, a strong horse to speed through all these situations, all these things. Gallop of thunderhood, vicissitude. She is really a brava in that sense. She is a heroine riding on the horse. She is the one who rode the horse and went to the battlefield when the Spanish Armada was invading England. She didn't go to the church and pray. She went to Tilbury and commanded her soldiers, go and fight. She rode on a horse and gave instructions there. Through race, fields of circumstance. Yes, this is circumstance. Now the whole history of the world changed with that. The whole history of the world changed with that. Queen Elizabeth's visit to Tilbury on 9th August 1588. The whole history of the world changed with that, you see. Completely changed with that, you see. Now, so these are the divine events. She was the brava at that point of time. A queen riding in a horse, a white horse, majestic figure riding. The only problem was with these ladies, with the European ladies, they ride the horse sideways. You see, they have to put their legs on one side and ride like that. They don't have pajamas but in Maratha battlefields, the Maratha woman, they would have a sari which can be spread out like dhoti, you can make two parts, and they can ride like a horseman, you see. Now, 9-yard saris, I don't know if they have seen some pictures or not, 9-yard saris, they used to ride horse. That is why 9-yard sari was there for the Maratha girls in those days. So they could do horse riding freely and go anywhere they like. On the battlefield, meet the enemy, so they used to wear 9-yard saris so that you can spread your legs on the horse and ride on the horse properly. Queen Elizabeth didn't have that 9-yard sari, you see. See. In a gallop of thunderhood, vicissitude, she swept through the race fields of circumstance. That is the race fields of circumstance. The Armada is coming, and England will go there. And then she went there. But you see, there is something more than Queen Elizabeth going to the battlefield there and meeting her soldiers at Tilbury. There is something more than that. There was a divine fog. There was a sudden clouding and tempest and all that thing at that point of time. And the Armada had to retreat because of that, you see. Had to retreat. So there is the divine element also which comes into play. But then you have to be brave as well and put courage, then you fight. In fact, that's exactly the same thing which happened in the case of Battle of Dunkirk. Battle of Dunkirk. May 1940, when the German planes were invading Lufthansa, constantly after that thing. At that point of time, of course, Churchill made a great speech. We shall battle on the beaches and sands and all that kind of a thing. He made a heroic, very powerful speech, very beautiful speech. In fact, I would say these two speeches of Queen Elizabeth at Tilbury and Churchill's speech in the Parliament, I think it was May 1940, sometime like that, May 1940. They are masterpieces of oratory, a masterpiece of oratory. But then, when the German planes were constantly invading, France would have been completely destroyed, gone, and also with that, England. But then suddenly, there was a thick fog. For 3 days, there was a thick fog. And therefore, the Britishers could vacate their army from the battlefield. Those you see it. Now, where from that fog had come? The same fog was there at the time of the Armada invasion of England. The same fog was there at the time of the Battle of Dunkirk. Where from that fog had come? When this was reported to Shivananda, Shivananda smiled. Shivananda smiled. There was a thick fog. But then Shivananda said, look, normally during this time of the year, season and all this, there's no fog there. See, that is how the divine hand works. That is how the supernatural force enters into our movements. You have to lend yourself to that. So on both the occasions, I will say, the Armada and the Battle of Dunkirk, there was the solid divine intervention. See, it is nature which got things changed, everything. On both the occasions. There was a thick fog, there was a tempest, there was a thing, and Armada had to retreat, and many ships were destroyed in the whole process there completely, you see. Same thing happened in the case of Battle of Dunkirk, you see. And then the World War II took a different turn altogether from that point onward. From that point onward, World War took a different turn altogether, you see. So that is how the divine hand works here. In fact, that was absolutely necessary. I will say both the events were absolutely necessary for the progress of humanity's not only civilization, but of spiritual prospects. Spiritual prospects. Shivananda says, had the World War been in the favor of Hitler, then the history of civilization would have been pushed back. The clock of history would have been pushed back by 50,000 years. By 50,000 years, you see, 50,000 years. The divine intention. Naturally, see, these are the avataric actions. No, nobody bothers about the occult aspects of it. That it was Shivananda who was really playing his cards there in the game. He had entered into the whole thing and changed the complete movement of World War II in May 1940. Completely, you see, gone. Battle of Dunkirk is absolutely important. In the occult history, it is a beautiful, glorious landmark. Same way, the Armada, actually one can understand if we have that little perception, little faith also, that after all Queen Elizabeth, first Elizabeth, it was Mother herself who had taken that thing as incarnation. Mother herself was Queen Elizabeth at that time, you see. So naturally you can please see the divine hand working here. Mother herself was Queen Elizabeth, first Elizabeth. And you can see the glory and the prosperity of all those things of the British literature, the dramatics and commerce and the flourish and the building of the empire with that. So it is the divine work which was going on there at the time. It was necessary for a certain purpose and it happened that way, you see. Same thing for the world history now to move forward, spiritual history of the world to move forward. The divine intervention was necessary in the month of May 1940 at Dunkirk, and Shivananda did in the occult way whatever was got to be done, you see. In one of the aphorisms, he says that a yogi in the Himalayas wills something, and the yogi is not known to anybody, and the entire course of world events changes with that. The entire course of world events changes. Somebody in the Himalayas dreams and wills something, and Napoleon Bonaparte marches over lands and continents and that using that. Somebody in the Himalayas dreams of wills that thing, and these things happen. So that is the occult force. So that occult aspect, in fact, Mother has given that thing, how she had impersonated herself and presented to Hitler and misguided Hitler, so to say, like that, you see. So these are the aspects of history. Oh my. In a gallop of thunderhood, vicissitude, she swept through race fields of circumstance, or swaying, she tossed between her heights and deep, swaying her tops, heights and the opposites. She is incalculable. Evil, good, she will accept everything. You see. uplifted or broken on time's incessant wheel. Time's incessant wheel. The wheel of time is constantly moving, but there are ups and downs on the time's wheel. Between highs and amid the tedious crawl of drab desire, she rides a worm mid worm. You see, now he is giving the examples of heights and dips. Amid a tedious crowd of drab desire, she was a worm mid worm in nature's mud. She has become small little creature, mud. A noble creature, a noble queen, she has become a worm in the soil. Then Titan stature took all earth for food. See, she can become this and that suddenly. That is what has happened in the course of life's possibilities expressing themselves. Then Titan stature took all earth for food. Ambition, the seed of fruit, that is the power. Ambition, that is the Titan's character. Asura, he is always ambitious, possessive. He wants every power under his control. That is ambition. Ambition, the seas for rope. See, now what a great scale this world is working. For crown, the star, for him, it is the stars and seas are become the and shouting so from peak to giant peak, clamoring for world to conquer and to rule. That is the ambition of the vital man. That is the ambition of the vital man. In a certain sense, it was that ambition which was there with Napoleon. It is with that Napoleon, with that ambition, he marched through countries in Europe, you see. It was a much larger ambition in the case of Hitler to conquer the entire world. Amid a tedious crawl of drab desire, tedious crawl of drab desire. Yeah, well, that is what the worm does, you see, moves on. She rides a worm mid worm in nature's mud. See what a sad line, you see. Then Titan stature, I told you, the giant nature. See, these Asura, Rakshasas, they can take different forms. They change themselves completely. Now you are this, now you are that. You are becoming a deer, you are becoming a horse, they take immediately different forms and present themselves like that, you see. Even a deer, it will be now sparkling at one moment, it will disappear at the moment like that. That is how Sita was deceived, no? That is how Sita was deceived. They keep on changing. Titan stature took all earth. Marichi, the deer, he used to take different forms and appear. Marichi was a Rakshasa and he could present himself in different forms, you see. Ambition, the sea is for robe. Now sea can become a robe, you see, water can become a robe, that is his ambition, you see. Of crown the star and shouting stood from peak to giant peak, clamoring for world to conquer and to rule. Clamoring, again a dactyl, clamoring for world to conquer and to rule. See, what a powerful dactyl again here, no? Clamoring for world to conquer and the L and C alliteration. Clamoring for world to conquer and to rule. L alliteration also is there. You see, he is now giving you to begin with the reason why Ashwapati wants to explore the world of life. The trouble is, the canto is starting with the trouble, the vicissitude, the changes, the mood, now this, now that, constantly changing, gigantic, rakshasic, and at the same time, then later on, glorious, noble, royal, purple colored, all those things. That is how it will happen.